Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
So 2-5 no limit,
Hmm.
8-handed,
Yep.
1,000 cap buy-in.
Where's this played out of?
Wind Creek used to be the Sands in Bethlehem.
Oh, right. I think we had a caller last week or something like that from there. Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
probably so.
Yep.
Probably
Okay.
so.
So two five
So
one K cap.
for
Mm-hmm.
yep, for this hand, I'm around 2,700,
Oh, deep. Nice. Okay. Mm-hmm.
and the villain's around like 800.
Oh, okay. So 800 effective.
Yeah.
Okay.
So pre-flop, middle position opens for 25.
So MP1 to 25. Is that the standard open?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Pretty standard.
Yep.
Cut off and button call,
Mm-hmm.
and the small blind folds, and I'm in the
Okay.
big blind,
Okay.
and I have king of hearts and eight of hearts.
Okay. Sounds like a call.
The, it was.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, I
So
remember
full
this.
weighted
This is a
flop.
very interesting hand. I remember this hand too. So MP1 to 25, cut off and
Yep.
button call, and you complete
Yep.
here with King 8 of hearts. So you're getting 25, 50, 75. You're getting like maybe 4-1. You've got a suited king, and
Yep.
you make the call in the big blind. So the pot's probably like
Yep.
$100, right?
Yep. Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
So the flop is ace of hearts,
Uh-huh.
queen of hearts,
Queen of hearts, right?
and eight of diamonds.
So you flop the nut flush draw with the King 8 of hearts and a pair. Ace
And a
of
pair.
hearts,
Correct.
yeah, ace of hearts, queen of hearts, 8 of diamonds, and you have King 8 of hearts in the big blind. Okay.
Correct.
Yep.
Yep. First act.
Yep. Okay.
So I check,
Yep.
and it checks around to the button who bets out 75.
So check pre-flop razor checks, cutoff checks,
Correct.
and the button
Yep.
bets 75. And he's going to be the guy that has 800. Is that right?
Correct. Yep.
Just out of curiosity, do you remember how much the MP1 had to start?
No, but it was definitely more than eight.
Okay.
He was
Okay.
probably closer to like 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is definitely something that's straight out of like what I like to call, and what I might do here, although it might not be the best board, but if anybody is familiar with my stuff, I talk about something called attack the field better. I don't know, Scott, if you're, I don't know if you're a CLP sub or if you know, I don't remember if
Yeah.
you were or not. So attack the field better. Do you know what attack the field better is?
No, but it sounds familiar. Please tell me.
So attack the field better is once the pre-flop raiser checks and someone in the field bets, you attack them. It's basically
Okay.
out of your spot here, like in the blind. You can do the same thing in limped pots too. Now, in general, I like to attack the field better on a more, I would say, low card dynamic board. And what I mean by that is when top pair will sort of be favored to change. So if I had like 4 or 5 suited in the big blind and the board came out 9 deuce 3 and it got checked to the button and he bet, I love that spot because a 9 doesn't usually end up being a strong hand by the end. Now here,
Yeah,
an ace
right.
is going to
Yep.
remain to be top pair, right? It's going to remain being top pair.
Oh, yeah.
But
Hmm.
I would have a much, much higher check raise frequency here against the button than I would. I think you're probably just burning money considering doing this like against the guy who raised pre-flop. That would be much different. If MP1 bet and it got back to you, I would call all day long. But here, I really would consider check raising. Now, occasionally, like if you were in a limped pot here, you could make a case for playing this hand kind of like a pull, meaning like you're going to call and maybe like if it was a bomb pot or something like that, and you're just trying to bring some people in that might be underflushed. But I don't think
Right,
that's
right.
really going to be a thing here. So, the theory goes like I would check raise with a boatload of equity here with King 8 of hearts if I think that the guy might fold like ace 7 or ace 9, or he's not going to play for stacks with those types of hands. Is really what
Yeah.
I'm thinking about. So it would be close because your hand has so much
You're talking-
equity, and the
now you're
chances that he doesn't, he's probably not going to have ace king or ace queens, which means that for the most
Yeah.
part, if you hit a king here, it's not going to interfere with like him making aces up, right? Sometimes you could run into a
right,
situation
right.
where you make 2 pair and the other guy makes aces up, but
better
probably,
pair.
yeah, probably not in this case. So it looks like all of your cards
Right.
are, or somewhat clean. So what ended? So he
Yeah.
bet 75. Okay.
He bet 75. And, I thought about it and then I just flatted him. And then the other two guys folded. So then it's heads up to the turn.
Right. So call, and then it goes fold, fold.
Mm.
You know what's
Mm.
funny is that in this particular scenario, in Hold'em, usually you want to get it heads up. So you're like, oh, the other two guys folded.
Yeah.
If you play this passively, you actually probably want one of the other guys to call for a couple different reasons. Number one, obviously you're getting more money in the pot when you have a nut draw. But what ends up happening is that if somebody else calls here, then it's more likely you'll get a free card on the turn. Meaning that unless the button's hand is strong, he might check back through the turn, and you don't have to pay for it. Where now, when they both fold, he might just continue to just sort of kind of plow through. But okay, so the pot's 250.
Right.
Yep. Onto the turn.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
So the turn is the 7 of diamonds.
So it puts out the backdoor diamond draw. So it's ace of hearts, queen of hearts, 8 of diamonds, 7 of diamonds, and again you've got king 8 of hearts in the big blind. Okay.
King 8 of hearts. Right.
Yep.
So I opted to check again here, see what he would do, and he bet out 200.
So he bets 200. So hero checks and button bets 200. So I'm actually he must. I mean, here's the thing about his hand. Like when you see somebody drive a hand like this, like look for it from his perspective. You called next to act after he put out a bet on the flop from the big blind, and you've got the pre-flop raiser behind you. Normally, you will have an ace here, or you will have like the nut flush draw. So when he continues to bet, like if I'm your opponent and I put that bet down, I'm going to have a strong hand here or like some sort of big draw. But because you are the one that has sort of the nut flush draw here, his hand sort of is kind of skews towards like value. Now he could have Jack 10 of hearts, which would be a royal flush draw, which is like a double gutter and a gut shot, or like Jack 9 of hearts. But you've got the king, it's just really, really skewed here. Now I don't know if he's flatting with ace queen pre or, he's got like ace 8, but I think at this point you probably just take your equity. I think I don't know what you think. Like, you don't think that this guy's betting 200 here with like ace 3 of clubs here, do you, on the turn?
No, and honestly, I'm not trying to look for monsters under the bed and that kind of thing. It's more of just like his bet really felt like a protection. Like he had maybe ace X of something, and he just wants me to get out of the hand. Right?
I think he's I think he's gonna have like ace Jack plus here, and it wouldn't surprise me if he has aces up or he has a draw. But again, you have some of those cards, some of those draw cards. Like I don't think he has like ace 4.
Quite a lot of them, yeah.
I don't think he has like ace 4 here. So
this is also the questionable part. We'll get to the end and we'll talk about it, because this is like where I could have taken a different line. Obviously, I know the result now, but as played, yes, I kind of put him on ace X, right? So I've definitely got a hit to feel like I've got a hand, right?
Well, you're going to take your equity. I mean, the question here, where you can get where you really get sometimes a play, I'm not saying you personally, but where a player might get in trouble here is sort of not knowing what to do if a king or an 8 comes. Because going with what we said, which is that this is like a lot of aces up here and maybe like Jack 10 of hearts. If you roll off a king at the end,
right.
And we've talked about this the last couple of weeks. The play, what if you hit a king on the river? What do you think you should do? An offsuit king.
So if I flat his bet on the turn, right?
Yeah, let's say you call the turn.
Yeah, I call the turn and a king rolls off.
Yeah.
I have no choice but to, because he's only got like $300-400 left, 300-400 left. I mean, I don't really have any choice. I'm definitely going to be in that hand with 2 pair for sure.
Well, what does that mean, though? Exactly.
Well, what I'm saying is that, like, all right, so he bet 200. I call 200. That's 400. That's 650 in the pot, right?
Uh-huh.
He's only got like maybe 400 left, right?
Right.
So I'm saying even if I check and he goes all in on the river for like whatever is left, 375,
So
400,
so
whatever
let's
it
say
is,
let's say he bets 400. So let's say you check and he bets 400 into 650. Okay, at the end.
right,
Okay.
right.
Are you gonna call?
I mean, it's one of those. I'm not going to like it, but I also feel like I said, with Kings up, it's like,
But
yes, there's
Scott,
definitely,
do you agree? So let's take a look at the hands that he would. This is really good stuff. I mean, I don't
yeah,
mean to
sure, sure.
sound, yeah. I
Uh,
mean, this kind of proves the point, right? So let's take a look at
please,
take a look at those hands that we think that he's bombing the turn with, right? We said,
right.
okay, he's got like maybe ace 10 or ace jack plus. He
Uh
has
huh.
aces up or better, right?
Could.
Or he
Yep.
has like jack 10 of hearts and maybe like, once in a while like jack 9 of hearts or something like that, right? So
Mhm.
of the non-aces up type hands that he has, like ace 10, ace jack, or who knows, whatever it is, like maybe he flatted with,
Yep.
yeah, do you think that those hands are going to move all in on the river on a king river? Ace 9, ace 10, ace jack for a final board of ace, queen, 8, 7,
Oh no,
king.
no, no, no,
Okay.
no,
Okay.
no, no.
So,
Sorry, I
so,
must have misunderstood you. Yeah, no.
so those hands will check back, right? On the
Yeah,
river.
for sure, for
Okay.
sure.
So Jack 10 of hearts gets there, right? Because it makes a
Yeah.
straight. So if a offsuit king rolls off and you
Mm.
check, if ace 9, ace 10, and ace jack are all going to check back,
Right.
but he shoves, then what do we have there as our action? If all the medium stringed hands will check back that we beat.
Oh, right. I see what you're saying. Yeah, he's only going to shove with better. He's polarizing. It's either going to be a great hand or it's going to be a bluff.
Well, and I don't really see the bluffs, really. I mean, maybe one combo of Jack 9 of hearts. The point that I'm making is that I would
Right.
probably play the river on an offsuit king as a check fold. Now, I had forgotten that you were sort of shallow, so it gets a little bit tricky. But even if you're a little bit deeper, the point that I was making is that we've had some of these calls the last few weeks where I said the right play is to check fold the river. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean that you're going to lose. It just means that the right play is to check fold because the hands that you're beating will go check behind, and the hands
Right.
that you're losing to are going to jam at the end. So
Right.
this gets tricky because of the stack sizes. I go back to the turn. He bets 200. You call the pot 650, and he's got about 400 left. So he's betting, you're calling 200 to win 450 plus like another 400 in his stacks. You're calling 200 to win about 850 if he always pays off when the heart
Right.
comes. So
Right.
it's still kind of difficult for me to sometimes fold pair plus flush draw because you could hit an 8 or a king. I think an 8 gets real dicey there too with these stack sizes. I mean, I think a king is a clear cut check fold, I think, but on the river, but an 8 sort of will get a little bit dicey. But and then if you do hit a heart, the question is how are you going to play it? Because if you check, you're just going to check it back, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
So
Sure.
what happens
Yep.
on the river?
So the river is the ace of diamonds.
The ace of diamonds.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I don't like that. Obviously, and so yeah, I check. Because,
So why don't you like that?
well, because like I said before, Ace X was one of the hands that I could put him on,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like especially with that turn bet, like get out of the hand kind of bet, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so, I mean, I could see any kind of an Ace X hand trying to blast me out there, right? Especially if he puts me on a draw or something like that.
So let me try to give you a question here that will demonstrate what I'm talking about. So let's say that there are two reasons why you might not like that card. The first reason is, well, he might have trip aces, right? He's going to have trip aces,
Sure.
right? And the second reason is I didn't like that card because I missed my draw.
Mm.
Which one, which reason do you think is more viable here? Is it because you didn't hit your draw, or because the guy might have trip aces?
Because he might have aces.
So when another ace comes at the end and you put the guy on an ace, right? Like when he's
Right.
firing on the turn, When another
Mm.
ace comes, is it more or less likely that he has an
Oh, it's
ace?
less likely. Sorry. Yep. Yeah.
So,
Yep. It's less likely.
yeah, so I mean, you can say that you don't like that card in the river. I might say I don't like that card in the river if I were you, but it's just because I didn't hit my hand. Now, if you
Mm.
start to think about doing some bluff catching, and I'm not saying that you would necessarily do this in this spot, but if he's only repping aces up for value here,
Mm.
or like eights, which is irrelevant, like pocket eights, but if he was only representing aces up for value here, now he has less of that. Now, you don't have a great hand here, I don't think, to call down with because you're blocking some of this stuff, right? You're blocking some of the hearts and all that stuff. Although you are actually, even though you've got the king of hearts, you have an 8 in your hand, which means that
Right.
he's got less combos of pocket eights, less combos of ace 8. So I
Sure.
might take that back. But what I'm trying to tell you is that on the surface, it might not be all that bad of a card for you if he's just shoving sort of very, very strong hands for value at the end, because it just cuts the combos out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, and that there is the backdoor diamonds that get there, and we had
yes, the
talked
backdoor
before
diamonds do
about
get there.
if
Yep.
he's got Jack 10 or Jack 9 or something like that, and he just happens to have diamonds. Now, again, I'm not trying to put him on.
Right.
It's a very specific hand, right?
Right.
So, but I totally get what you say about the ace. You're exactly right, and it's again, it's just more of like, in the end, what do I have? And I have an 8. And yeah, I mean, I blocked, like, if he was drawing on hearts too, yes, I blocked that, et cetera, et cetera. But in the end, I had an 8, and it kind of felt, like I said, here is where I felt like I'd made the mistake on the turn. I could have check raised him on the turn, still feeling like I had, I have the nut flush draw. I
I
have an
think
8.
that, Scott, I think that would be the absolute worst play. I want you to, when this call's over, obviously it's going to be, I mean, we'll put it up probably as a YouTube call, and then we'll probably, you can always catch it in the live stream after the fact if you know the link.
Sure.
By the way, the Crush Live Poker subscribers know the link, but I want you to go back and listen to our discussion on the turn as to why I think that would be probably the worst play of this entire hand. We just said how strong he was right on the turn, right? Why do we
Right.
want to check raise with no fold equity on the turn?
No, yeah, you're right.
So
So I tank for a little bit, and then I fold, and then he.
So wait a minute. Did I miss out? So you checked, right? Hero checks.
I checked,
And what do you?
he shoved.
What he shoved? Okay, I don't know if I missed that or if we just skipped over that.
No, sorry, we got to talk about the hand. Yep.
Yeah. So hero checks and he shoves. Okay. So the pot's like 1,050, and it's like maybe 400 to call, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, I don't know. I'm not saying that I would make this call for sure because the issue is that I don't know what this player type is, but these are very, very underbluff spots where a guy might just go, bing, bang, boom, like 3 streets on the, at this level as a bluff. On the flip side to this, though, like I said, it is just screaming full house for value. I've seen guys like check back ace deuce, ace 3 in a spot like this. By the way, for you guys that have, and I don't know if you heard this, Scott, but for you guys that have been with me for the entire live stream show, I think it was the very first call where I said that I would check back some hands on the river that are strong if I think my opponent has me beat or just has a draw. This actually isn't that bad of an example. Now I'm not saying that I would necessarily take this sizing with ace 3, ace deuce on the turn, but if you put yourself in the villain spot and bet flop and bet turn with ace deuce or ace 3, is the river a bet? When backdoor diamonds get in, the guy's called next to act, and there's a very good chance he just busts out on hearts. It's just one type of example where a weak ace actually might not bet here. With that being said, now that he's jamming here, he is definitely representing like he's very, very full. You have the hearts, which aren't great for you. You have an 8 that blocks 8's full and ace 8, which is good for you. So, but it's sort of an underbluff spot. So I would probably tend to not call here at this level. I got to be honest with you. I think you said yourself too with backing into diamonds too. That's another thing that you lose to. So I probably wouldn't call, but I think it's probably closer than maybe what we would see on paper.
No, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I could see on occasion calling, but on this occasion, I did not call. I folded.
Okay, and what was the result?
And he showed his bluff.
Okay, and what was
He
what
had
was his hand?
he had 4 of clubs, 2 of clubs.
What? This was a great
Yeah.
hand, and we're gonna end it like that? So just total error? Just total error?
Total error. And like, I think quite frankly, he even talked about it. He bragged about it. He wanted everybody at the table to know. And so, look, man, I think the guy just like read the hand correctly. He put me on the draw, and he just pushed, and the draw bricked out, and he just gambled. And I mean, I wouldn't necessarily make that play, but like he did, and but he didn't stick. 20 minutes later, he's gone. I think he figured that it was going to come back to him.
Well, hey,
So,
listen to me. So I'm not. I mean, obviously you were ahead of the guy, but the checking the attacking the field better would have worked.
no, I totally agree,
On the
man. I
flop.
totally agree. Thanks.
I got to tell you, I mean, I've seen, like I said, it's got to be tens of thousands of hours and I've commentated on this level a lot, like 1K cap game. I will go so far as to say is I don't think I've ever seen somebody butcher a hand or sort of play as maniacal with no equity as your example here. Meaning I can't think in my head of a guy betting with 4 deuce of clubs like on the flop and on the turn here after you call next. It's just such an outlier. Sometimes we can be jaded by these outliers, but I think that there's some good nuggets to pull from what I was saying about this hand. Forget about the results, forget about what the guy had.
Right.
Go back and listen to it, especially the turn and all that stuff. But I appreciate the call, Scott. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care, Bart.
All right. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel, and check out the coupon code in the description to try out the Crush Live Poker training site for free.